Hey, can I ask you guys why you're here at this event?
I'm not trying to be interviewed.
No, hey, can I interview anybody?
Aren't you guys like the Proud Boys?
Yeah.
Aren't you like feds?
What?
Aren't you like feds?
Oh my God, that's great.
Yeah. Like, aren't you guys like? I mean, I'm not trying to be interviewed. I'm just saying, like, aren't you guys like federal agents?
No, we're not. Where did you hear that from? What fake news do you consume? Are you a groiper? Hey, I asked all those guys out there what they're here for, and they were like, "Oh, aren't you a Proud Boy? Aren't you FBI? Aren't you guys feds?
Did you tell
Get
them
the fuck
yes?
out of here!"
Did you tell them yes?
I said, "What?" I said, "Are you guys groipers? What fake news do you subscribe to?"
So those guys, let me tell you something. The guys that are about like 3'6", that never got laid, are asking you if you're part of the FBI.
That's what just happened.
I wouldn't find it too offensive.
No, I don't even care. I just came over here and I wanted to ask the main FBI.
Yeah. So our agency doesn't discriminate. Whether you're 3'6",
welcome to the Trump
pimply dude that's never gotten laid,
today.
or you're a big dude,
We've got to give a very
like this
special
guy over
thanks
here.
to Right Side Broadcasting Network.
We love you the same.
Fake news, the fake media, and big tech have tried to bury RSBN constantly. They're the only people that have been at every single Trump event, every single Trump rally. They've not missed a word of Donald Trump since he announced he was going to run for president. When he came down the escalator with our lovely First Lady in Trump Tower on June 16, 2015. They've been there every single step of the way. I've been to the Capitol several times. I've gone across the country twice with the Trump train, and you guys have been there every step of the way, filming live every single day. If you can't find them on YouTube, Facebook, or Twitter, you can go to rsbnetwork.com. That's rsbnetwork.com. There you can always find them. And also on Rumble. Thank you, Dan Bongino, for creating that, providing that for us. Once again, another thank you to the men and women of the Palm Beach Gardens Police Department. Chief, thank you very much for bringing your folks out here. Sarge, thank you very much for being here. Without you, we couldn't be here safe and sound every single week. Thank you very much.
What are you, like the mother groper or something like that? What is that? Groiper?
You know, I'm mommy to...
Mommy to the groiper?
I'm mommy to dissidents of all kinds.
Okay.
And, you know, I think that there's a very eclectic alliance that is necessitated by all of the forces that are against us. We have common enemies, and we're not going to agree on everything. But when we're attacked, we have to be as unified as the left is on all of these things. It's the only way. It's the only way to survive.
I agree with that 100%. But I went up to one of these groipers on the way up here, and they immediately were like, "Oh, aren't you with the Proud Boys? Aren't you guys feds?"
Yeah. Well,
and then I saw you hobnobbing with Enrique Tarrio over there, King Fed. And by the way, I'm just joking. It's sarcasm. But,
all right.
Yeah, everything is sarcasm.
What do you think about that? Like, what do you think about the Proud Boys?
I think that
since the last time we started this, this is
I gotta get
awesome.
Going. But what I will
Look
say
at everybody
is,
around you. This
we have to have
is
practical
America,
alliances.
and
At the
it
same
represents
time,
everybody
it is
and
very
everything that is
advisable to be
great
skeptical
about this
and
country.
do your homework and do your background on
So because
everyone
most
you
of
come
you weren't here
across.
the first time, gentlemen, please remove your caps. There's a big, beautiful
non-answer
American flag right at the corner, and repeat after me. I pledge allegiance to the flag. Performing today our national anthem, Mr. Matt Stone.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave. Thank you very much, everybody. MAGA! MAGA!
Give it up one more time for Mr. Matt Stone.
And I give you the most banned woman in the world and my friend Laura Loomer.
Thank you so much, Karen. Thank you. And thanks so much to Willie Guardiola. And thank you so much to Vinny Caldera as well for helping organize this. It's incredible. This is real grassroots energy, and the fact that this event was put together in the span of 5 days, it's an incredible turnout. And thank you all for coming out. So as Karen said, my name is Laura Loomer. I am the Republican candidate for Congress here in Florida's 21st Congressional District, home to President Donald Trump and First Lady Melania Trump. And I ran for Congress, and I filed to run for Congress in 2019 and the 2020 election year because, you know, I had my career as an investigative journalist and an activist, and I ended up being completely deplatformed. I'm literally banned on every single social media site, whether it's Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Uber, Lyft, Uber Eats, PayPal, Venmo, GoFundMe, Periscope, Teespring, YouTube, recently Stripe, which is the payment processor that WinRed, the Republican Party's fundraising platform, uses to give money to candidates. They also banned me, and they also banned President Donald Trump. They also banned President Donald Trump. So the RNC, right, they're still using Twitter, the Republicans are still using Facebook, they're still using Stripe and all these other social media sites and platforms that have banned President Donald Trump. It's the first time ever in United States history that a federal candidate for office ran while being completely deplatformed. But I suppose I'm in good company because it's also the first time in United States history where we saw and we witnessed together a sitting United States president get deplatformed and completely silenced and censored. It is un-American, and it is not who we are, and it goes against the bedrock of our society and our constitutional republic, which is the First Amendment. And so that's why we're here today. And, you know, the fight is far from over. And big tech election interference may have cheated me out of my election in 2020, where I actually beat Lois Frankel in-person voting by 22.6%. I beat her in early voting by 3%. But you know what? She got an infusion of 100,000 mail-in ballots, and I ended up, you know, beating her in in-person voting and early voting and out fundraising her every single election cycle while being completely deplatformed. As Karen said, we were the only deplatformed candidate and campaign in the nation. And, you know, I'm surrounded here today by a lot of my campaign volunteers who are standing behind me. And not only was I deplatformed, but the people of Palm Beach County and District 21 and my campaign volunteers were also targeted, and they were silenced, and their social media accounts were also banned, and their PayPals, a lot of their accounts were shut down. And Bobby is in the front. Bobby made my campaign T-shirts. He has a shop here in Palm Beach called Fat Enzo's, and they shut down his PayPal and completely deplatformed his website and his social media because he was making merchandise for me and Roger Stone. Okay? So when we talk about deplatforming and we talk about censorship, okay, it's important that we have a conversation that is not surface level, that is not just talking about Twitter and Facebook, because it's much more sinister than that. We're talking about people, Floridians. President Donald Trump had this happen to him, being debanked. Can you imagine having your bank account shut down because of who you voted for? Having your bank account shut down because you have the bravery to say the election was stolen, right? Not being able to post or not being able to send an email. And it sounds extreme, but that's the level of censorship that they carried out against our campaign. Here in Palm Beach County, Comcast has a monopoly. How many of you use Xfinity Comcast? Right? You have to, because That's what is required here in Palm Beach County. And so Lois Frankel was one of 32 members of Congress who owned stock in Comcast, okay? And what did they decide to do? Not only was I banned on all social media as a candidate, but then they also started banning my campaign emails and text messages as dangerous content. So that's what's coming for all conservative Americans, and we've seen it. We've seen the big tech tyrants in Silicon Valley amp up their censorship of conservatives. Nick Fuentes, who was supposed to be here today, is not here today. You know why Nick Fuentes isn't here? He has also been targeted, he has also been silenced, and he has also been banned and deplatformed in egregious ways. And they have decided to take their political persecution to the next level, which should scare every single American. Nick was on his way today to come and speak to all of you about the America First agenda that we all support and the importance of this bill, HB 7013, that is currently being voted on as I speak. And Nick was not able to board his flight because he has been unconstitutionally stripped of his rights and placed on the no-fly list. And don't think that that's a coincidence. I'll tell you. When January 6th happened, I was out of the country. But when I was coming back from El Salvador, I was detained at the airport in Miami, Florida, and I was questioned and I was asked about whether or not I planned on writing about January 6th or whether I knew anyone who participated or whether or not the lies and the smears that are posted about me online accusing me of being a Nazi and a white supremacist and an anti-Muslim bigot were true. And then, not only have I had my First Amendment rights stripped, but I have also been stripped of my Second Amendment rights. When I went to go apply for my concealed carry permit, I was told that it was denied. And I was told that it was denied because I have been put on the NICS database by the FBI, despite the fact that I do not have a felony and I have never committed a crime. And this is what they're going to do. It may have started with me, it may have started with people like Nick Fuentes and Alex Jones and James O'Keefe and others, Michelle Malkin, who has also been victimized and targeted for her support of America First individuals in this country. But it's going to happen to all of you next. It is going to happen to all of you next, and we will have nobody but to blame but these feckless Republicans who are doing nothing and sitting by as all of us are being silenced, as the voters of Palm Beach County are being stripped of their ability to participate in the election process fairly. And you know, I felt defeated when the election results came in and the mail-in ballots and the election interference robbed me of my election. And I know a lot of people are feeling defeated right now and they're wondering, what is the purpose? What is the point? What is the reason why we should even keep going if they are just going to steal elections? Well, I'll tell you, election interference and big tech social media censorship are one and the same issue. The people who stole the election are the big tech social media tyrants. People like Mark Zuckerberg and Jack Dorsey. People like Mark Zuckerberg, the CEO of Facebook, who funneled over $400 million into swing states for election efforts. Where do you think that money went? Where do you think that money went? It is an illegal in-kind contribution when you decide to give one candidate access to social media while denying the other. And so my question to these Republicans who are voting on HB 7013 right now as we speak is, why are you discriminating against the definition of candidates in your bill? Why not apply all of the fines equally? Did you know that President Donald Trump, if he decides to run for president again in 2024, he will not be protected by this proposed big tech legislation that Governor DeSantis has been touting as the most aggressive tech legislation in the country, because it does not apply retroactively. It does not apply retroactively. And so even if they say we're going to implement this legislation to make it a punishable offense by $100,000 a day to deplatform a candidate in the state of Florida, it only applies in an active tense. It will not provide, any sort of protection for people like myself who were previously banned, prior to running for office, and it will not support people like President Donald Trump or even Governor DeSantis. It's not even going to protect him, because the way the policies have been created, and they were created in response to my congressional campaign when I filed to run, Twitter and Facebook invented new policies to interfere in our elections. The policy when I first filed to run for office was that any candidate who filed could have a verified Twitter account. Any candidate could have access to Twitter. But then when I filed, they said, well, every single candidate has to win their primary first. Okay? Then the social justice Democrats, the communists who are running against the incumbent Democrats said, well, that's not fair, what about us? So then they changed their policy again to say everybody besides Laura Loomer. Everybody besides Laura Loomer. And don't think that that's not going to now apply to Donald Trump, given that these companies have created policies that say if you have been previously banned, it doesn't matter if you're running for office, it doesn't matter even if you are an elected official or you become an elected official, you will not be able to have social media accounts. And our lawmakers in Tallahassee are intentionally ignoring this information. And I know, and I can say that they are intentionally ignoring this because I have single-handedly prepared briefings for all of them and sent it to all of their offices and organized meetings with them to let them know how severe this is and to offer my expertise so that not only are politicians and their selfish interests protected, right? Because they only think about themselves. They only think about themselves when they think about protecting people from censorship. What about the everyday Floridian? How many of you have been banned by Facebook or shut down or thrown in Facebook jail? How many of you know someone who has been censored or silenced? How many of you feel like you were robbed of your political voice during the 2020 election because you were silenced by big tech? And so it is time for these both incompetent, malicious, and sinister rhinos in Tallahassee to get off their asses and do the right thing. Because there's 4 days left. There are 4 days left, and over my dead body will I let these rhinos get away if they think that they're just going to go on Fox News and talk about a bill and make empty promises to combat cancel culture and protect our elections and combat social media censorship in a weak bill that has no teeth. And so that's why we're calling on Governor DeSantis's office to make sure that these important amendments are included. The amendments to, 1, increase the penalties and the fines so that they're actually punitive for these companies, which are collectively worth over $7 trillion. 2, to amend the definition of journalist so that independent journalists, which is really every single American citizen, your press credential is the First Amendment of the United States Constitution. We are all citizen journalists in the fight to hold our elected officials accountable. We are all watchdogs in our constitutional republic. Okay? And 3, the bill needs to be applied retroactively to ensure that people who are previously deplatformed are protected. And so I just want to thank all of you for coming out here today. And I just want to let you know that I am not giving up on the fight. I have filed to run for Congress again in District 21. I believe in free speech and I believe in America, and I will never allow for the radical left and complicit rhinos to cancel America, because you can't cancel America. I want to introduce somebody who not only is a mentor to me, not only who is an icon, really a true conservative icon, somebody who we all love and adore, somebody who has shaped the way for grassroots patriots and grassroots activism over the last 20 years, somebody who I look up to, and one of the only people who was in the mainstream media to have the balls to stand up for me and other people who have been viciously maligned and attacked and deplatformed and silenced. And so it's my honor to introduce my friend and conservative author and really just overall conservative badass warrior, Michelle Malkin.
People, I want you to make noise. Somebody gave me this fake news propaganda bell. Let's go! Let's go! This is fantastic. I flew in here last night from Colorado, and Florida is actually a free country. All eyes are on you. All eyes are on this district that Laura Loomer is going to represent when you send her to D.C. All eyes are on this state because your governor is about to sign a bill that will become model legislation for every red state and every red state legislature. It has to be done, but it has to be done right. It has to be done right. And we can't just be trained seals clapping every time somebody says they're for America first, and every time somebody says they're for free speech. We got to read the fine print, which is what Laura has done, which is what Nick Fuentes has done, and so many of the real deal warriors and champions that are your voice. The bill is going to leave too many deplatformed citizens behind. We can't afford to leave a single dissident behind. We have to unify. That's why we're all here. That's why we have an incredible alliance and coalition now that is not just holding the left and the socialists accountable. Yeah. I've been doing that for a quarter century, almost 30 years, right? What is the problem? It's exactly what Laura says, and so many of us who've been fighting these battles against the rhinos and the establishment sellouts and the backstabbers who didn't want Donald Trump to get into office, correct? We gotta hold them accountable, and they gotta make this bill better. The time is running out. The clock is ticking. Each and every single one of you needs to call the governor's office, call these state legislators, call Blaze and Golia, who is sponsoring the House bill, and tell them to adopt these amendments and put teeth in the bill. Fix the bill. Fix the bill. Can you hear everybody? Come on. Fix the bill. 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 I made my career in both old media, this one, right? And new media. 15 years ago, I founded the first internet broadcast company. We got RSBN here. Thank you for what you do. Right? 15 years ago, I had the vision to start such a company. It was too early. But at that time, believe it or not, YouTube was promoting our content. Wow, have times changed. Right? And 15 years later, slow years later, as so many canaries in the coal mine have been warning about this deplatforming, systematic discrimination, the Republican establishment has done what? Nothing! Nothing! They talk, they take your money, and they do nothing. And if they're going to do something, they've got to get it right. Get it right, people! Because this model legislation is going to be passed like this, and everyone is going to claim credit for protecting all of you when so many of you are going to fall through the cracks. I don't do this anymore for myself. I've had a blessed career over the last 25, 30 years. Look what's happened over that time. How many of you watch Fox News anymore? Yeah. And what's happened to the Republican Party has happened to Fox News, and it's happened to the once great promise of social media as an egalitarian platform that gave voices to all. And now, as Laura asked you, so many of you know, either experienced yourself or know somebody close to you, family member, coworker, who no longer has a voice. And you don't have to be a big blue check mark. You don't have to be a leader like Laura or Lauren Witzke, who will be addressing you, or Nick Fuentes, or all of the next generation of podcasters and communicators and activists. You could just be some ordinary person, some no-name person, and the next minute you wake up and you have no voice. And when you have no voice, you have no choice. This is why this battle is, as Nick said in his America First live stream earlier today, an existential battle. It's about our First Amendment rights, and our Second Amendment rights, and our Fourth, and our Sixth, and our Eighth, and our 10th, and our 14th Amendment rights. All of them. And look what's under attack. Every institution that represents the historic American nation. That's their enemy. Why do you think I wear this America First hat? Each part of it, I mean. This country first, no other. This country or else. And this is more important than ever. this in-person engagement. The more you can rid your lives of these Silicon Valley oligarchs and diminish their power with your own choice to get them out of your lives, purge them as much as possible. Yes, those of us who are still hanging on, and I'm clinging, I got my first strike on YouTube last week for simply interviewing 2 Colorado moms who stood up in favor of religious and philosophical exemptions to mandatory vaccines. That's not allowed. You're not allowed to challenge the international health bureaucrats and the globalists. And Silicon Valley is putting their thumbs on the scale and still pretending to be a neutral platform. Bull crap. And the other kind. Right? Go ahead and say it. That's exactly what it is. Total BS. Doesn't that feel good? Yes! That's what free speech is supposed to be about. Every dissenter of every kind. Raise your hands if you're a pro-lifer. Raise your hands if you conceal carry or exercise your Second Amendment rights. Raise your hands if you're a homeschooler. Yes! Raise your hands if you're an America First nationalist fighting mass migration. And raise your hands if you supported Donald Trump and believe this election was stolen. Raise your hands if you supported Loomer in her first run and are supporting again in a second. Raise your hands if you're a believer in Christ. We're all together in this. I know I sound like High School Musical, but we are. We are all together. And we have to be like Spartacus, right? We have to stand up for each other. And you don't get this enough in the Republican establishment and the swamp. They don't support us. They don't support the people. They pay lip service to us. They pay lip service to populist ideals. And they're going to try and fool you. And this is so important going forward as we head into 2022 and 2024. Oh, everybody's America First now. Bullshit! That's right. That's right. And it is incumbent and imperative that you know the difference, that you separate the real deal, the wheat from the chaff. And you have to organize in person now. All right, we're going retro. Get rid of your smartphone if you can do it, okay? Go retro. Go flip phone if you have to. And organize among yourselves. It's the only way. We are going to deplatform Silicon Valley. Big tech is going to be little tech, nothing tech. These people, if we bind together, if we hold our elected officials, particularly the Republicans, accountable, Twitter and Facebook and Instagram will go the way of MySpace. Remember them? These people cannot hold dominion over us, especially if we know who holds dominion over us. Amen? That's right. Well, thank you so much. Take this energy, channel it, spend the next 48 to 72 hours bombarding DeSantis and the Republican state legislators to get it done, get it right, break up big tech, and stop the bias. God bless you. And it is my pleasure. I want to thank Nick for raising the flag and bringing us all here along with Laura. And now I'm going to introduce you, and Karen as well. I'm going to introduce you to Laura Witzke. Yes, that's Lauren, the former Senate Republican candidate from Delaware who challenged the swamp and the establishment to talk about her experience with deplatforming and why she's here.
Hi, how's everybody doing? So I came all the way from Joe Biden country in Delaware, and yeah, you guys have no idea how good you have it here. You do know. Okay, good. It's our job to keep it that way. So my name is Lauren Witzke. I was the Republican nominee. I ran for United States Senate against Chris Coons in the state of Delaware last year. I was there amidst the Hunter Biden scandals. The laptop, I went and saw the guy who ran the laptop shop, and I saw that they had just completely destroyed his shop. He is now in hiding just for sharing the truth. And as far as I'm concerned, that man is a patriot. Don't you agree? But currently now, I I am the spokeswoman for Hold the Line PAC. You might be familiar with our work. We just pushed through election reform legislation in Georgia that caused the Stacey Abrams MLB meltdown. Is everybody aware of that? You want to know how we did that? We channeled and harnessed our political energy, our political power as constituents and Republicans to demand our Republican elected officials that we wanted election integrity, or we were going to replace them. And we can do that. We can no longer tolerate evil. We can no longer tolerate compromise, because that's treason. Any compromise with the left right now, in the likes of Maxine Waters and Stacey Abrams, that is treason. But today I'm not here to talk to you about election integrity. I'm here to talk to you about Christian persecution here in the United States. I myself am a Jesus-loving Christian. Jesus set me free. Jesus set me free from years of drug addiction, drug dealing, and he radically changed me and just placed me in the political realm. Yeah, he is so good. He is so real, and he loves us so much. You know, this is a Christian nation founded on Christian principles by Christians fleeing religious persecution. That is why the satanic world order hates us so much. That is why they are trying to destroy our country. And big tech works as an arm for the satanic world order. So, like I said before, which brings me back to my point, compromise with these people is treason. Why would our Republican elected officials not take a moment, or even take the opportunity, seize the opportunity that we have this week to castrate the biggest enemy against the Christian people here in Florida? So, a little bit about me. So I was banned from Twitter for saying one word, and that word was demonic. So there was a pedophile transgender on Twitter talking about how little girls who get raped in the bathroom or sexually assaulted by other transgenders, they asked for it because they are kinky, and that they aren't as innocent as anyone used to think. Pure evil, demonic. So I shared it and I said, "This is demonic." I just said the word demonic. I was instantly banned for hate speech, lost my account with 70,000 followers. You know, the political persecution against Christians specifically is real. They are coming for us. We are their greatest enemy because we stand in truth and righteousness, and we stand with Jesus Christ. You know, today, Nick Fuentes, one of our speakers, is a very strong Christian social conservative who has advocated for Christian values and bringing them back into the GOP. Don't you agree it's long past time that we bring Jesus back into government? So big tech is one of our greatest enemies right now, and we have the opportunity to cut the head off of our enemies. And we can do that through big tech legislation forced through with our Republican elected officials. And you can demand of your your elected officials that they're going to pursue these amendments, push through this bill with teeth, or we're simply going to replace them. We have all the power. We're the ones who are gracious enough to give them donations. We are the ones who are gracious enough to come out and vote for them. We put up with all their crap. We put up with Mitch McConnell, Lindsey Graham, Mike Pence as they compromise. That's a great example of what compromise looks like, and it cost us everything. They stole an election from us. They stole my pro-life, pro-faith president from me and replaced him with a degenerate, dementia patient is what he is. Everybody in Delaware knows that Joe Biden has dementia. He does. It's true. It's true. You know, and they also censored my campaign Facebook page when I shared pictures of from Hunter Biden's laptop where he had little children on there, exposing himself to little children. That did happen. You know, so we have to rein in big tech, and we have to do it today. And there's no excuse why Republicans will want to compromise with people who want us dead. People that have no problem stealing elections from us, just see us as cattle that they can push around. You know, today is the day, and we can demand of our elected officials that we will not settle for anything less than big tech legislation that protects us. We are doing the job that they're too afraid to do. We're standing up for traditional marriage. We're standing up for life. We're standing up for religious liberty. You know, we are celebrating the rights that we have as Christians to celebrate Jesus Christ, and big tech tech is coming for us. So we cannot wait any longer. Today is the day, and we can demand it. And that's what we did in Georgia. As you saw, we told our elected officials down there, up there, I'm in Georgia. We told our elected officials, you're going to give us election integrity or we are going to replace you. The only thing that these elected officials care about is conserving their political power. They are so afraid of losing their political power. And when you threaten to take that from them, it's amazing what they will do. They knew it was election integrity or we replace you. It's simple as that. And for the Florida legislators that are here, you know, it's a lot easier to replace a bad Democrat than it is a rhino Republican, as we see people like Mitch McConnell. So, you know, we do have an opportunity to do this. We must demand from our elected officials, and that is possible by organizing and motivating the base. Christians make up 80% of the GOP Republican voter base. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm getting really sick and tired of being left behind. I'm getting really sick and tired of watching the compromise after compromise. You give the enemy 1 inch, and he takes the whole thing. You think he's going to just give us a little bit here, a little bit there, and not take everything? That's what he does. You know, our enemy is cunning, and it is our job to push our elected officials to fight for us. You know, the Democrats right now, we have to name our enemy. Right now, they're violent, revolutionary, Bolshevik communists that this nation did not, we didn't used to tolerate them. And now it's time we stop tolerating it. I went on a rant, so I'm going to go on. Remember the war being waged on Christians and conservative activists, and act accordingly. We cannot afford to be tolerant and compromising with evil. We are losing our country. We are running out of time. The Florida legislature has a few days to amend the big tech bill in a way that neuters our enemy and gives Christians and conservatives a fair shot at fighting back. I'm asking every Republican elected official that's possibly watching this to act quickly and amend Governor DeSantis' bill in a way that punishes big tech to the fullest extent that they can be punished. Christians are the most neglected voter base in the GOP, and today I say no more. We are a persecuted people, and we deserve representation in office, and we want it today. Thank you so much.
Anthem of President Donald J. Trump. And my favorite version is performed with members of the United States military.
Wait, over Biden. Shanghai!
Tell me why you're here. Why'd you come all the way over here?
All the way over here?
Yeah, where are you from? Like,
I'm not
Texas
gonna. I'm not telling anybody where I'm from. I see what you're doing here. We didn't travel very far. Just came over here today. But why not? Ron DeSantis is awesome, but also he's trying to do a couple good things with this bill, but it's not enough that we need here. We need PayPal. We need everyday normal people to be protected for their free speech, not just candidates that are running for some type of office. And I love the Trump supporters. That's the best thing.
Kaitlin, I'm completely ignorant to this bill. Can you tell me about the bill? Can you outline it a little bit for me, for like a dumb person like me? What is going on with the bill? What's the bill?
A dumb person like me. So basically what you're going to want to look at in this bill is that it has protections, but for candidates. It's mostly focused on candidates who are running. They can't be deplatformed or anything. And it only focuses on platforms like Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and stuff like that. It doesn't talk about PayPal or Airbnb or Uber or anything. You want to talk to somebody really good? I'll talk to Loomer about that, because she has been banned, probably the most banned person in America. So they're just saying, hey, good start, but we need protections for everybody, for every platform.
And then just the last thing is this gentleman right behind you who's overshadowing everything. That's your bodyguard, because of I've seen, like, you know, your run-ins, they're notorious.
Yeah.
Is that what inspired that?
Yeah, I pay him to be here because who's gonna mess with me with him behind me?
Yeah. Yep. So you don't have any problems like that anymore now?
Not with Trump supporters, no. But you never know who might come up, and it's good to be safe and sorry. So yeah.
What about these groypers? Can you tell me more about groypers?
Very good for them.
What do you think about Proud Boys?
Good for them too. Good for the Proud Boys. If that's your thing, congratulations. If you're a groiper, congratulations. If you're Antifa, fuck you. So I mean, that's what I have to say.
Thank you, Kaitlin Bennett. Appreciate it. These are groipers right here. They refuse to talk to media, even in gonzo media, that's really not media. But they don't talk to, interesting, they don't talk to media. I was trying to find out more, trying to ask them more information. But they only seem to be interested in capitalism. They're selling those America First hats, which I can't fault them for whatsoever. But they don't talk to media. They have strong opinions about Proud Boys though, and they call us FBI. But they're unwilling to debate that claim. Hey, Enrique, explain this bill. 'Cause I don't know the bill. I'm an idiot.
So basically what it does is it fines social media companies, I think, don't quote me on this, I think it's $3,000 a day when they ban candidates. But what we're doing here today is we're pushing the amendments that would make it retroactive and would fine them, I think, double on a daily basis. Because if you think about it,
people like you could cash in.
People like me would be able to cash in, I guess. I mean,
I know why you're out here.
I mean, did you bring T-shirts today? No. I'm pretty sure he did.
Let's bring it seriously though.
But I mean, it's more of a fuck you to them than anything for me, because can you imagine, right? All these people that they've banned, they decide to run for office in Florida, no more ban. I mean, putting those people back on that platform, which I don't think, it sucks because it puts us in a defensive position. Like, we're trying to get back to where we were in 2016. It's a way, them banning us on social media and us having to push legislation puts us in a defensive position, not an offensive position. So, I mean, it's an uphill battle, but at least, even if it's passed as it is, I'm going to test it.
So Florida's that state that's going to do this first?
Yes.
We're like the Wild Wild West state, we're going to actually hold these people accountable somewhat?
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome, man.
I mean, and that's another thing. We're trying to get other states to do the same thing, and we're trying to get them to push it, so.
All right, these groipers, I was trying to get them to talk. They don't talk. Groipers are better at not talking to media than Proud Boys.
Well, let me tell you, this little faggot that just keeps walking back and forth here, I think he's doing it on purpose. I'm going to clothesline him.
Yeah. Well, that was Enrique Tarrio.
And obviously this already came up in court, but in Minecraft, I'm going to clothesline them in Minecraft.
Oh, yes. And he plays it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Big dork.
Yeah.
Yes.
He probably has a Nintendo Switch in his back pocket.
Yes. How was Flynn? How was the Flynn thing?
Oh, really good. Really good. I enjoyed it. Unfortunately, you couldn't go. It's only for prominent creators, T-shirt manufacturing companies, sweatshops. And I got this new thing that I'm going to start putting on the shirts. It says, made in a sweatshop in the USA.
Dude, you know that I had a premonition. I actually dreamt that you stole that from me too.
I mean, I don't know. I've never heard you say that, so.
That's it. We're going to merge soon. Fuck you. Got to go. Yeah. So I haven't had any success getting groipers to speak with me. You are a self-proclaimed groiper, correct?
That is correct, yep.
What the hell is a groiper?
Well, groipers very simply are mostly young conservatives who believe in putting America first and want to keep America as a Christian nation.
That sounds good to me. Now, when I was moseying on in here, I assume some of your groiper, counterparts, they had something to say to me. They noticed my hat, and it has connection with Proud Boys. They said, "Are you a Proud Boy?" and "Are you a Fed?" Is that the same sentiments you?
I'm a little more friendly to the Proud Boys personally. I understand why some of them said it because I know there were some issues. I know a few Proud Boys myself. I don't necessarily have an issue with the movement. I think everyone's got their place. But I can understand there was all that stuff about Enrique being a Fed, I know, a while back. So you have to be very careful because there's all this stuff about feds. Nick just got placed on a no-fly list. We have all these FBI people coming after people. Everyone's very scared. Everyone's very paranoid because they don't know if they're going to be next.
What made you become a groiper?
Well, I'd always been a conservative, but I started watching Nick, I want to say, a year or two ago, and his ideals appealed to me. And I realized that we need to take a stand for true conservative values because no one else is going to do it. If you see one person do it, one person will become 10, become 20, will become 100. That's what it's about. It's about you can't have fear. You have to have courage to stand for what you believe in because this is your country. The most patriotic thing to do is to shape your country how you feel it needs to be, to help your country be the best that it can.
Thank you very much, Mr. Groiper. Appreciate it.
Oh, anytime.
All right. Proud of your boy.
Biden is a pedophile and Hunter fucks children too. Fuck around and find out. You're wearing the wrong colors.
Come on, let me hear something.
How much more do you want to hear?
Let me hear something. Say something.
Fuck Antifa. Fuck BLM. This is about America first.
Use that First Amendment right.
First Amendment right. Thank you.
Sir, why do I always see one person out here, just yourself? Do you have anybody else in your group?
Stop oppressing yourself.
Is there anybody else in your group?
Stupid idiot.
Sir, I always see you out here. Do you have anybody else in your group?
Are you even a firefighter?
Are you a firefighter?
It's just part of it. First time I just noticed leaving.
How you can see that? You should have seen the guy that we saw.
If anybody knows him for a long Sunday, then he's like your brother.
Still sucking black dick. Still taking it in the ass. It's just it's smoke and mirrors. And I get it. Look, you know what? There's some points that when you listen to his channel, some points that he says, it's some base ass shit. But let's be honest. He doesn't live it. Right. He doesn't fucking live it. So not worried about it. It's good. So I'm just worried about my guys right now. They got them on lockdown 23 fucking hours a day in solitary confinement. They gave Derek Chauvin was such a fucking monster. They gave him bail.
Yeah.
But some fucking dudes that went into the Capitol, took some selfies and walked out, they're gonna lock them down for 23 hours a day? Fuck you, dude.
What, they're gonna, at least they're keeping them in solitary. It's better than them putting them in general.
Yeah. I agree with you, but there has to be another fucking option. There has to be another option. You can't be like, hey, you know what we're going to do? We're going to put you in this 4x4 cell, and you're going to sit there for 23 hours a day and stare at a fucking wall.
It drives a man crazy.
You know?
And not even trial yet, too.